What is I factorial? This breaks the rules. Factorial is only defined for whole numbers. On the real line, it works perfectly. 1, 2, 3. But between them, there's nothing. So searching here fails. Unless we stop thinking in one dimension. Let's explore what happens when we go complex. Factorial feels simple. 1 factorial is 1. 2 factorial is 2. 3 factorial is 6. But this pattern isn't just a list. There's a single rule hiding behind it. N factorial is really gamma of n plus 1. And once we see that bridge, factorial is no longer stuck to integers. It becomes part of something continuous. This is how factorial enters the complex world. This is our bridge to the infinite, the gamma function. It's defined by an elegant integral where a growing power of t meets a decaying exponential. At first, it looks nothing like a factorial. But the true power of this function comes from a special recurrence relation. Gamma of z plus 1 equals z times gamma of z. A self-repeating pattern. Let's test the base case. Solving the integral for gamma of 1 leads through a simple calculus identity, and the result is exactly 1. This single value is the foundation for everything that follows. Because of that recurrence, at whole numbers, gamma behaves exactly like a factorial. For example, gamma of 4 becomes 3 times gamma of 3, which unfolds into 3 times 2 times 1. 6. But here's the breakthrough. If this logic works for the number 3, why shouldn't it work for I? By extending the definition, I factorial is simply the value of this same integral evaluated at a complex input. And that's where the real story begins. We begin by defining I factorial. It's written as an integral from 0 to infinity. But immediately, something unusual appears. The tricky part is the term t to the power I. How do we even interpret that? Here's the key identity. Any positive number, t, can be written as e to the power log t. That lets us rewrite t to the I as e to the power I times log t. And since t is positive, log t is a real number. Now the integral becomes clearer. Only one part has changed. The power term is now an exponential with an imaginary exponent. This is where Euler enters. Euler showed that complex exponentials are rotations. E to the power I theta equals cosine theta plus I sine theta. Here, the angle is log t. So e to the power I log t becomes cosine of log t plus I sine of log t. Substituting this back into the integral splits the expression naturally. One integral multiplies cosine of log t. The other multiplies sine of log t and carries the factor I. So I factorial separates cleanly into a real part and an imaginary part. Each can now be evaluated on its own. And that's Euler's breakthrough. We previously split I factorial into a real and an imaginary integral. Evaluating them numerically gives a specific complex value. I factorial is approximately 0.498 minus 0.155i. But what does this really mean? Factorial doesn't stop at integers. It extends to complex numbers through the gamma function. I factorial is gamma of 1 plus I. To understand its size, we use a key symmetry. Gamma evaluated at complex conjugates multiplies into a real expression. Gamma of 1 plus ix times. Gamma of 1 minus ix simplifies to pi x, divided by hyperbolic sine of pi x. That product is exactly the magnitude squared of gamma of 1 plus ix. So we now have a closed formula for its size. Now let x equal 1. The magnitude of I factorial is the square root of pi divided by hyperbolic sine of pi. Numerically, that's about 0.5215. So I factorial is a precise point on the complex plane. Thanks for watching.